Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 94 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2019. Thank you so much for being with me today. Our tangle today is called Zonked. It is by Barbara Finwall, and I think she is the creator of a tangle also called Olay. This is very much an optical illusion type of tangle, and I wanted to let you guys know that I am back after my fiasco from yesterday. And so let me show you on this bijou tile. Hopefully this video will last through the upload process. So I'm going to start with my bijou tile. This is a Zentangle original bijou tile. It is an off-white made of the same gorgeous thick hot pressed watercolor paper that Zentangle uses. You can put these in stamp collector sheets and that kind of thing. Have your tangle name on one side, the tangle picture on the other. If they're double-sided, then all you have to do is turn the sheet over and you can see both. They're really awesome for that, but they're also awesome for what I'm doing here, which is going to be a monotangle. A monotangle refers to a tile that, or piece of art that uses one single tangle instead of more than one. It's the mono. And I think that was actually a phrase coined by Laura Harms at IamTheDivasCZT.com or .blogspot.com, I think. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I hope Laura and her family are doing well, and I hope we see her again soon. Okay, so this tangle starts with a simple X. You're going to divide your square. If I can see what I'm doing here. Divide your square with an X. And this tangle is about straight lines and about rounding, yeah? Okay, we've divided this square into quarters, okay? Now, in the step out, this was a box, and let's actually do that because this is meant to be a grid tangle, and I wanted to make the monotangle of it because there's a lot that goes into these little squares, and I want you to be aware of that before you make them too small, if you will. So let's do it this way, okay? All right, so rounding in these four corners. Rounding just means to take off the sharp edges, yeah? So sort of take off from one line, curve, make a gentle curve there, land on the opposite line. Try not to let your ink get the best of you. And black it in, and if you feel like your curve isn't good enough, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble here. That's where I have my issues. So that is rounding, okay? Let's get you even closer so you can see how messy it is. No, I'm just teasing. Okay. Thank y'all so much for your patience. I appreciate y'all more than you know. I've gotten some lovely comments on the blog post. Really lovely. If y'all haven't checked that out, it's at thetirelesstangler.com. I would love to have you read it. Give me your thoughts. I will always be interested in what you guys think. Whether I agree or not does not matter. What matters is that we have an open forum for ideas that flow. And I am always open to new concepts and new ideas. Just because I do something one way doesn't mean there's not a better way, or another way, or a different way. I guess that was all the same thing. So this is what we're going for in the middle. Four nice rounded corners there. Because they're not corners anymore. Now, we are going to add some aura lines, okay? And we're going to make them I believe she maps these out. She might have, I can't remember on the step out if she did this prior to or after the rounding. I think it's after. So you just want to aura this triangle, right? Don't make them too close together because we're going to be rounding the corners in each one of these. So you want to leave yourself room. That one got bent out of shape. That's an American colloquial saying that means all upset. I apologize. I use a lot of colorful language as far as descriptive. I love the part of American English that is so full of color, if you will. Sometimes it's ridiculous, but I find it fun to play with words. So if y'all haven't figured that out already, I don't know what to do with you. All right, that was a little close, but I think I can make it work. Okay, let the rounding begin. Let's start over here where I actually made a corner instead of a rounded one. Because in the step out, it looks like this, I believe. I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm starting to get a bad feeling. Well, there's no right or wrong in Zentangle, and we're going to find out if that's right. I know that in the step out, these are pointed, sort of like zigzags, or triangles. So I'm going to march on with that assumption and maybe point these a little bit. I actually do like that. All right, so note to self, you want these to be a triangle, or hollow. Yes, a triangle with a point. Well, that's pretty misshapen. Let's see what we can do about that. That's a pretty big round. We'll see how that works once we get done. Not very even. There, that's a little bit better. Remember to shift your tile back and forth however it is most convenient for your hand. Your strokes will be more consistent if you do that and try to approach each stroke in the same way from the same direction, if you will. So something else to think about. I don't want this one to be too shallow or it won't look anything like the other two. That may be a bit much. If you want to round the tips of these when you draw them in and add the point when you ink it, that works too. One of the reasons Zentangle tiles are small is their portability, the ability to stick them in a wallet or purse, or notebook, or anything really. But another reason is to remove some of the fear of even the large size Zentangle tiles. These are really small, really easy to work on, easy to make a small creation on. There's really is enough room. I always thought I wouldn't like them. There's not enough room, but there's more room on here than you might think for creating. I am looking to offer some of these products on my site, but I don't want to make it too much work, if you will. So, okay, this is not making me happy. And this is why I have problems with rounding, because I just don't want to stop, and I should stop. Okay, so this is conceptually what we're doing. Now, imagine this in a square grid. You can see why, you're not going to want that square to be small. For example, you're not going to want your square grid to be this size, right? Because, well, I suppose you could. You'd get like one aura in, and the rounding would be really difficult, but it could be done, I suppose. But I think the beauty of this pattern is when you give into the rounding and really play with it. Now, embellishing wise, after you're at this point, you can do whatever you want to it. You know, you could perf in every other row. You could add tangles in these rows. Something simple like pertains would be pretty in there. So, you know, even single square in the large is really a cute pattern. And I bet it's really cool. I did like the art that they had on Tangle Patterns. So try this out. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to sign your tile. You know, my signature is getting worse and worse. It is July the 3rd. One day before a terrible anniversary for me. It was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, a young man took his life and set into motion a chain of events that is still killing me to this day. All right, anyway, enough about that. I got the date and the signature, and let's find the pattern. Oh, note to self, don't set it there. Okay, so let's see. How about we use this one right here? And I want to do more than one, but not a bunch. So I think I'm going to divide this, and I don't think I'm going to try wonky on this. I have enough trouble with the rounding. Might be asking too much of me. Okay, and then we'll use this line continuing up. And down. And so this should be all we need. And this should be enough space for me to work in. All right, let's see what happens. It'll be fun. Come along for the ride, guys. Start with your X's. Breathe in. Exhale as you finish your stroke. That was some good advice I got from someone out there. Which one of you was the calligrapher? Was that Judy? I don't know. One of you guys that are smart. And a lot of you guys are really smart, so yay me. I have the best community everywhere. All right. Been getting messages on the blog encouraging me. You are so wonderful. Y'all are so great. Okay. So this is what mine looks like after I draw in my initial lines, okay? Now I'm going to start by rounding these two center pieces, trying not to let this get out of control for me. Okay, let's do this one. And we'll see if any of these partial ones have this section open. I don't think any of them do. I think these are the only two. Now remember, I'm not turning this, and maybe I should be. Trying to keep my hand position stationary for the camera, but that seems to be difficult for me. Okay, Cindy, time to stop. I feel like this is the part that needs the most love and care. And I just keep making this bigger and bigger, don't I? Well, that's going to be all right then. We'll just match this. This is all of that out of frame. This is a very good example of what I mean when I say if you make a mistake, see if you can repeat it. I made this part way too thick, so I went over here and I added more thickness to that so that they matched. And I'm not saying I'm doing anything different there, but I am saying, you know, a mistake or going too far with something isn't necessarily the end of the world. You got to look at a way to use it or repeat it or salvage it or cover it up with Bronx cheer, because that's what that tangle is there for. And it's a really cute idea, I gotta say. Knowing that if you end up with a big ink mark, you're gonna be all right. All right. Whoa, look at, well, you know, I only have one choice here. I'm repeating it, aren't I? Okay, that was too far. And this is why rounding is so difficult for me. They're gonna match anyway, aren't they? Whether I try to be less with it or not. Because I just can't stop, and it's hard. It is hard to stop once you get started on this and you feel like it's not even, and you just want to touch it up a little bit over here. Try to allow yourself to look at it from further back. I have to remind myself constantly that people don't look at this as up close as I film it. I mean, I film it close so that you guys can see what the pen is doing, but people don't normally look at it this close. So I don't know if that's okay, but I'm leaving it. But I can't leave this because it's just too much. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and do my auras, and I think I'm going to do them as I go instead of doing them all at once. I'm going to try. I say that, and now I'm going to change my mind. Trying to keep them all about equal distance. Now, when you come to this situation, you're going to want to join your lines like that, yeah? And make that one seamless thing instead of two separate squares, yeah? Just kind of cool. And I like the way that looks. Let's keep going. And oh, that's a mess. That's okay though. I have so many messes on this sheet, and you know, I was looking at it last night, and not a single one of them bothered me that much anymore. That was not exactly right, but it's okay. Leave it alone, Cindy. Half my problem with art is trying to fix what I see as mistakes. And if I could just relax a little bit, I think I would be fine. All right, that's the first RN. I think we have room for one more. And I'm going to do this one right now so that they mirror each other. Okay, and I'll add little ones here. Well, I left the point out altogether, didn't I? It's really hard for me to aura with a point and not... Well, I'm really wanting to black that whole thing in now. Deep breath, Cindy. Deep breath. So that's sort of how I'm dealing with the double areas where you have the aura. And that's not exactly even, but you guys understand what I'm trying to convey. And I think we could probably see a little bit of that. And do that way. All right. Let's finish adding in this rounding before I really take off and go crazy. I probably didn't do the best, okay, no, probably about it. That's not the best job of rounding. And again, I admit that this is not my best area, but you know what? I'm gonna make it work for me, as I know y'all are. Thank you for joining me for this tough week of optical illusions. Ooh, it's gonna be a tough one. Got one more day, then I have 2 really awesome tangles planned for the weekend. And I think we'll just need one more. And I will be so sad on that day because I'm really going to miss this project. And I know y'all will still be here and I will still be here, but it won't be the same, will it? Hopefully it'll be just as good or better. I have decided that I'm going to take a stab at, there are lots of people on YouTube and other places that do time lapse or speed up their videos, and it's just basically oh, look what I did. Oh, I totally rounded the wrong edge of that. Well, we're gonna have something interesting here too, aren't we? Again, can I repeat it? Good job, Sim. Good job. Well, I am losing the spirit of this tangle really quickly here, aren't I? I need to zoom out just a tiny bit. The rounding is messy because my hands just won't stop. And I'm kind of frustrated with this. I'll be all right. It'll be all right. I am choosing to allow myself to get frustrated, and I'm not going to do that anymore. That's actually a perfect way to do that, is draw it with the rounded top, then put the point on and just fill in the gap. That's much easier than, I think, than what I've been trying to do. But let's see what happens here. Completely lost my section here. There you are, you crazy little section. All right. It still looks okay. It's really not the same effect that the tangle is getting, but this is still a pretty cool effect, and you can do a whole lot with something like this, maybe a whole lot less in my case. Where have I missed? Right here. See, that's a much better way of rounding, I think. If only I'd thought of that before. I think I tried it before, I just didn't make it work. Just like that. Well, all right. I am excited about our tangles this weekend. I have not looked at the one for tomorrow yet, but I shall very soon. Now, this is basically it. Really sort of not happy with this. I honestly don't know, shading wise, what I want to do or not do. I'm trying to get a picture of this next square and sort of lost it. Okay. So this isn't bad necessarily, but I don't feel like I've done it justice. I feel like I have lost the tangle because I don't have the room for the extra auras. And making room is not a good plan, Cindy, as you can see. But it really adds a lot if you can get that next aura in. See, I left myself room on the bottom, but none of the top ones. And that is not good. So I think I'm going to put one more here, since they're not good. Let's go ahead with it. Yeah. That's disappointing. I don't know what I'm doing here anymore, guys. I'm making things worse is what I'm doing. Anyway, I don't know how much of that was off camera, and I'll probably try to get it going for you guys, but here we go. Okay, here's what's going on. Okay, now, one thing regarding shading. I don't really want to spend a lot of time with that, but what happens when you set out all of your utensils before you get started? They move. No, I can't find it. It's in my lap. It's probably on the floor now. Oh, there it is. Hey. Okay, so one thing occurs as far as shading goes. We need to think of something. You could shade one side, maybe the same side. And get some separation in these squares. I do not know what I'm going to do with them. They are not making me happy right now. And I'm going to, on this, do the same side when I turn it 90 degrees. So, in my case, the left side. So this would be the left side down here. Then you will have shaded two sides of your square. Put some down here. Okay, and let's blend this out and see what effect we get. I maybe should have tried this out earlier. Well, I kind of like that. Sort of buttonizes them, if you will. They look like those little inchies that Ennioken teaches. She has a really cool lesson called Inchies, where you can take your art that you don't want anymore, and you don't want to throw it away because it's not bad in parts, and you take pieces out and make a mosaic out of them. And so she's got a lesson called Inchy Mosaics, which is really cute and fun, and a good idea of ways to use art that you don't want to destroy completely. So something to think about. Yeah. Okay, shading helps. I don't know what to do to help the ink, but I'm just gonna go with the shading. This is a real mess. I am extraordinarily disappointed in how this turned out, but I'm going to deal with it. It's gonna be all right. And honestly, I have stopped and looked for mistakes that I know are there, and I don't see them so much anymore because it's so full of these wonderful patterns that the rest of it doesn't matter, you know. And even these messy spots that I have here and there are able to catch the eye and ask the eye to think. And so I think that's still good. If your eyes are able to think, then you're ahead of me. Mine have trouble opening. Okay, let's zoom out just a tiny bit. Okay, it's not terrible. Okay, it's terrible, but I still like it. It's about the same as this one, and I still need to apologize to poor Rhea for that because that was a mess. But anyway, that is day 94 of the 100 Days of Zentangle for 2019. Thank you all for being with me today. Thank you all for your support. Don't forget to check out my blog at www.thetirelesstangler.com or find me on Instagram at the Tireless Tangler. If you type in Tireless Tangler, you're going to find me. All right, thank you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.